Hey everyone, it's me, author Alexandra Infante, coming at you with a new review. So, just a little heads up before we get started. We have decided that we actually are only going to do 6 days a week. We're not going to do seven. So, Saturdays, there won't be anything. Like the channel will be silent. Because we're getting a bunch of submissions now, and so someone's going to have to read. And so we're going to pick Saturdays to do all of our reading. So we won't upload a video on Saturdays. So we'll be Monday through Wednesday. Remember, we'll be IR and MC romance, which is what I'm coming with you tonight. Thursdays will be mainstream romance. Remember, mainstream means Caucasian indie authors. And then Friday will be everything goes. So basically, whatever your genre is, if you're not in the romance genre, then Fridays would be your submission days. So basically, you could do whatever, we'll do whatever on Fridays. And then Saturday, we won't do anything. The channel will be silent. And then on Sundays, we will come back with our YA romance and NYA romance. So basically, that's where you will get all of your kitty stuff. So you can do YA, you can do children's, basically like Corduroy or Goodnight Moon. You could do that. Basically, it's Sunday, so it's a little one's day, or not necessarily a little one's, but innocence. But Monday through Wednesday, Monday through through Friday, actually. Sorry, I'll get it right in a second. Monday through Friday, anything goes. So those are the days that you can submit tawdry stories, and we won't mind. So basically, we're gonna leave Saturdays for our days of reading, because I've read probably 10 books in 2 days. So that's gonna be really hard. So we're gonna keep. And I want everyone to be spotlighted. And so we decided to throw out the normal books, because after all, we said this was an indie channel. So all that's going to be done on this channel is indie authors. So we won't be doing any of the big publishing housing authors, because they get enough publicity. I mean, come on, everybody knows who they are. So we're just gonna focus on indies, and we're doing really good, guys. YouTube sent me a little thingy with the congratulations on the channel and all that. So that's seriously cool. So you guys keep subscribing, keep watching these videos, and I hope you're enjoying them. I'm trying to make them, this is my personality, so I hope it's not annoying to you guys. Today I was in some office and I was talking to a girl, and some guy was like, "You're talking really loud." And I was like, "Look, I've lived in New York, okay? So whatever." But the simple fact that he came at me, it was like, back up. But that's California, so anyway. But I'll let that go. So this is my personality. So hopefully I don't offend anyone with my, as my mother calls it, boisterousness. And you guys enjoy the videos. And that's pretty much it. Our book tonight is by author. Just a second. Just a second. Author Kenya Wright. Now, this book I really, really liked. She's not on our roster. I hope someone out there in YouTube land knows her and tells her, because I really enjoyed this freaking book. It's called Power. See, she didn't even need to say nothing else. She just said one word. Power, y'all. So, basically, it is an erotic romance. So, here's the cover. It's called Power, and it's by author Kenya Wright. So, the main characters in this are Noah and, turn it, I cannot believe I just, her name slipped my mind that quick. Look, I'm getting over y'all. MJ, I'm sorry. Okay, so the main characters in this book are Noah and MJ. Noah is basically a crime boss, right? he runs these streets, as it says in the book. And so basically, he grew up in the ranks. He's hood, like hood as they count. But he's a white boy, so that's what makes it even funnier. But anyway, so he's as hood as they come. He has his little crew. He grows up in the streets. He does, what was that little boy going around? I want to do bad things with my friends. He basically does bad things with his friends. And so at 14 years old, he killed his first crime boss, and he basically took over all of their stuff. So, this, excuse me, I'm assuming that it's New York. I'm sorry, I forgot if that's not where it's, I'm not sure if she actually says where it's located, or if she did, I just drew a blank. But anyway, so he runs these streets, and, he basically, he's into guns, he's into drugs, he's doing all these things, but the one thing that he stays away from is prostitution. He doesn't do that. Now, he has his little code, like he won't harm women, he won't harm children. So those are off limits to him. Like, he will do whatever it is that he needs to do to run the streets, but when it comes to those two aspects, he won't touch them. And so basically the book opens up with someone's done something wrong. So he has his boys at the table. He has the Glock sitting on the table and basically saying, one of y'all up. So basically there's rumors going around about his two head honchos got into a gunfight, and one needed to get away from the other one. So he shot up a school or a playground or a park or whatever it is, and basically killed a bunch of kids. And so to Noah, that's like, you are basically the devil because you shot innocent babies, innocent kids. And so he doesn't know which one did it. And that's the problem. So he's having like this whole monologue inside his head, and he's pissed off. He's hurt because these were his two boys that he grew up with. They pull every job that he pulled, they were right along with him. So they rose in the hierarchy with him. And so he gave one boy the South, one boy the North. And so he's like, y'all did me wrong because you did this. And this was the only thing I asked you not to do. But you did it anyway. And so he's sitting there and he's like, having this conversation in his mind. And he's like, I'm going to have to kill one of them. I don't know which one because I don't really know who did it. But I know I have to kill them because I need to make a point. I need to let it be known that you can't be going around killing children. Of all people, children. We don't touch children. We don't touch women. Those are the two things that this whole hierarchy or, infrastructure is built on: his power and him being able to wield that power to keep his people in line. And so basically MJ is a 21-year-old college student, and she wants to be a comedian. Like, her whole life is centered around telling jokes and, basically loving people like Richard Pryor, Scott Travis, all these people. And she wants to be like them. She wants to be a big, huge comedian. That's like her dream. So she's a college student. And so she's been like going around petitioning and auditioning clubs to get to do her act. She's 21. And so basically, she gets on his roster because the whole thing is Noah owns a club. He owns he owns a bunch of stuff, but his number one jewel is his nightclub. And so basically, the author describes what the nightclub looks like. It's fancy, it's Irish, it's posh, and so she figures getting an opening act, or as far as I read it, she figures getting an opening act there would be cool. And so she comes into the into the restaurant, and the big, huge guard, Fuji, which is so funny, he's like, no, you can't go in there. And he's like basically telling her, no, we're closed for tonight. Because in Noah's monologue, he's pissed off about the fact that he had to close his club down for the night. He needed it to be empty because in all his bravado and all, the tough guy exterior, he's afraid of blood. I thought that was funny. So he has a serious reaction to the sight of blood. And it's funny because my ex-husband, he was the same way. He couldn't see blood. If he saw, like, my daughter fell and she scraped her knee, like, really bad, and it was bleeding, and he went to try to help her, and as he was helping her, he freaking passed down. And so, I mean, I laugh about that. I talk to us about him all the time, but anyway, because he's ex. But anyway, so so he can't deal with the sight of blood. Like he says in the book that he's getting better with it and he's learning to deal with it. And it's like, because, I mean, come on, he's a gangster. He can't be like, bitch, whoops. Oopsie. He can't be punking out, I should say. And he's a gangster, you know, he's shooting people and then he's like, and pass out. So whatever. So he's learning to control it. And so he tells you all of this in his little monologue. And so he's sitting there with his two best friends from childhood, knowing that he has to kill one of them tonight because of what they did. And then in sails MJ. She rushes to the stage. Fuji's trying to chase her, but Fuji, in the book, the author explains that Fuji is like a big dude. And like, not only is he like huge, like in height, but he's very girthy too. And so he's trying to run to catch her and he can't. And so she gets on the stage and she's like, yeah, so blah, blah, blah. And she starts going into her act. And they just look like, is she freaking crazy? You know, here we are. Noah has his gun, his Glock on the table. With his finger like on the Glock. The two guys are sitting in front of him. And you know, because of the fact that they're all gangsters, it's pretty, obvious, I'm sure. They have something either. If it's not a Glock, they probably at least got a knife or something. And so she starts going into this monologue. And so, he's like, Fuji's like, boss, I told her, I tried to get her to stop. I can't, blah, blah, blah. And then so he turns around and he looks at her and he's like, really? Really? And then it's like all of a sudden, boom, it dawns on her what's actually going on in this restaurant. And so she's like, well, I'm blind. I can't see well. And I really can't hear sometimes, which is why whatever it is that you have on that table, I have no clue. So she tries to like back out, because now she's like in the buki. And so she wants to try to leave, but he's like, no, catch her. Keep her. And then she's like, no, but really, I didn't see anything. I don't even know what's going on. I don't even know my own name. Basically, to try to get out of it because you realize she is in deep, deep, deep Buki now. And so Noah goes take her upstairs. And then she's like, no, you don't have to. I didn't see anything. I swear, I promise, I won't go to the police. And then she's thinking to herself, oh crap, I should have never said anything about the police. And he's like, the police? And she's like, no, that's not what I meant. Basically. And so Fuji takes her upstairs. And so Noah's like, he turns back to his henchman and he's like, we've got some problems. And before he can even finish, the guy Domingo, which is his Puerto Rican friend that he grew up with, and Rashid is his black friend that he grew up. The guy Domingo pulls a knife from his pocket and like, I hope there's no kiddies out there because this is not the night for you. He pulls a knife out of his pocket and he stabs him in the freaking forehead. It's like, wow. And he kills him. And so basically Nora's like, what did you just do? Blah, 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 blah. And so they fight or whatever. And then he gets away from him and he's running. And so Domingo's like yelling, well, you were going to kill one of us anyway. And he's like, yeah, me, not you. So basically, so then he gets away. Noah goes back to his restaurant and then he goes upstairs. And when he goes upstairs, he hears laughing and he's like, what's going on? And he smells popcorn and he's like, really? And so he goes upstairs to his apartment building because he lives over the club. He spent like, I think it was $1 or $2 million like renovating this entire club over. And so he goes upstairs and he doesn't open the door, he like cracks it, and she's sitting there telling jokes and Fuji is sitting there dying laughing, eating popcorn like it's just another day in the week. He's like, really? This is supposed to be our hostage. She knows too much. Why are you letting her entertain you? Right? So then he goes into the this book was like so funny to me. He goes into the office and he's just like, really Fuji, what are you doing? He was like, well, boss, and then he's just like, no, just stop. And so then she goes into this tower and she's like, well, when I'm nervous, I tell jokes so I don't you know so I don't freak out as much. So the gist of the book is that because she saw what happened, he can't let her go. Or he tells her that. Because he owns the police. He has bought everything in that town. So even if in this city, so even if she went to the police would just sweep it under the rug. And he wouldn't technically have to kill her because, excuse me, from her character, she's dingy. She's cute, she's this, she's that. And so he wouldn't really have to kill her. He could just send her on her way and be like, if you ever tell anyone, I will come into your bedroom at night and kill you. Basically, that's all he would have to do to frighten her, to get her not to say anything. But he realizes, like, as he looks at her, he's like, wow, she's cute, she's this, she's that. And basically, he's like, no, you have to stay. And she's like, you can't kidnap me. You can't keep me here. And he's like, actually, I can. And so basically, the rest of the book is her being under his thumb. And not so much under his thumb. I mean, there's like, this book is an erotic romance. She won Amazon's bestseller for erotic romance fiction. So it's juicy. And this isn't for children. You should probably be 21 to read this book. And so there's a lot of sex scenes in the book. And if I had to pick a sizzle meter for this, it would be 10. And so basically they go through these escapades or whatever, and then we get to the middle of the book, and instead of her being shy now and shying away from the things that he's doing, he basically tells her that he's falling for her. He wants her with him, and so he's making these excuses. And then they get to this one scene. He tells her, like a couple of scenes before, he tells her, I'll let you go once I've found Diego. Because, of course, he has to kill him because, the hierarchy of mafia rule is that you can't be punked like that. And so basically the fact that he killed Rashid in front of him and then he tried to fight him and then ran, he's like, it's a given. You got to get a bullet. That's just GP right there. So he's got to kill him. And so he tells her, I'll let you go, or you can go home or back to your life once I've killed Domingo. And so basically it gets to the point where he does kill Domingo, but he doesn't tell her because by this point he's actually fallen for her. And so he's like this really logical guy where he makes lists that of things that he has to do. It's like very OCD, or I'm OCD. I really truly am. My kids are like, oh my God, will you please just go away? Will you just go away? Because I am. I'm sorry. That's just who I am. And so he makes these lists and he has to detail, he has to mark things off his list. And so she's caused him to like stop doing that. He used to have these really terrible, terrible nightmares. She's caused the nightmares to go away, or at least for him to have normal human dreams, not bloodshed, murder, kill. And so he's fallen for her, and he's like really falling in love with this girl. And so she's funny. She makes these jokes that are like actually pretty funny, for a book. And I was sitting there like dying laughing, like, oh my God, this is so crazy. And so basically she gets to the point where he has to go into this, like in the middle of the book, he has to go into this restaurant. And he feels like it's a setup because like there's this little kid, Mo. He's got like a mohawk. He's like already a little gangster thug, Puerto Rican, He's already on about that life. And so he's like, he's telling her, like, when she meets him, she's like, he's telling him what to do, because now I think now it gives you the idea that he's going to use him for a runner, like, closer, like a little bit ways back in the book, and when she actually gets to meet the kid. And so it feels like he's going to use him for a runner, because him and his two besties are the ones who found Domingo for him in the first place. And so the kid goes, "Can I watch you kill him?" And so he's like, "Really? Do you really want to see that?" And he's like, you're a kid." And then his like henchman, that's like, oh my god, I could not stop laughing at this guy. He's like probably 6'8", huge, something's wrong with his face, and his nickname is Crusher. So that tells you what it reminds me of that one scene in Sherlock Holmes where Robert Downey Jr. and Jude Law are in like the little abandoned building, and they're looking for the clues. It's Sherlock Holmes, the first one. They're looking for the clues of who killed the little dwarf. And so, he's like, "Oh, I smell caramel, blah, 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 blah." And then, Jude Law sees the two henchmen, and he's like, "You mean caramel toffee?" And he's like, "Yes." And he turns around, and he sees the two, and they have like the little, one has like a can of gasoline. They're about to torch the place. And he's like, "Oh, you're here for your alternate ways." And he's like, "Yes." And then anyway, so they go, "Yo, a dredger." And they call the dredger dude, and he's huge. So this is what I pictured this guy, Crusher, looking like. And so through the entire book, he sings Disney too. So there's one scene where he's never invited a woman into his bed before. Noah. He will have relations with them elsewhere, but not his bedroom, his sanctity, the intimacy of his bedroom. And so he takes her there, and then freaking Crusher starts singing, "Can you feel the love?" And so I could not stop laughing, because I just had this picture of that dude from Sherlock Holmes singing, "Can you feel the love tonight?" from the Lion King. And so I couldn't stop laughing. But anyway, and so he's like, "Okay, I'm going to tell you about my world then. And once I tell you about my world, you're in it." Because he had already hinted, like, because of the fact that he's falling in love with her, he's like, "I protect what's mine." And she's like, "But I'm not yours." And he's like, "Yeah, keep telling yourself that." And so he's like, "I'm going to tell you." And so he starts to break down his entire world. And then he goes, "Now you have to accept your position." And she's like, "What position?" And so basically, that's where I'm going to stop. I'll let you read the rest of the book. So this book is called, once again, it's called Power. It's called Power, and it's by author Kenya Wright. Can you see it? I hope you guys can see it. See, Power. And here's there we go. That's better. It's by author Kenya Wright, and it's on Amazon.com, because that's where I bought this from. And yeah, that is New York, because I could see the skyline. I don't even have to look to know. I mean, I don't even have to read it in the book. The fact that she put the whole entire downtown Manhattan, I would know, there, it's New York. So anyway, yeah, and no Twin Towers. But so anyway, like I said, it's called Power, and it's by author Kenya Wright. Once again, see it. This book is really, really good. So if I had to say anything that I didn't like about the book, I'm trying to think, because it was just that good. As you can see, I was dying laughing. I thought it was so funny. I would say the heroine's age. Because when I bought this book, once again, it was a work thing. I was so brave. I was like, "Oh, let me read something." And so when I bought this book, I was like, I started reading it like, wow, a while ago. Probably sometime like in the beginning of last year. So almost a year. That's probably how long I've had this book on my Kindle. And I started reading it, and I got through the first couple of pages, and then when she said she was 21, For some reason at that time, it turned me off, and I was like, no, I can't deal with a 21-year-old. So, because personally, I like my characters to be like either their late 20s or they're in their 30s. I think more people should focus more on female romance when you get to your 40s. What is wrong with a female character not being in her 40s? Like, there's something wrong with that. What is wrong with that? No, I'm just no. I do a series that's called Older Women, Younger Men. And no, it is not cougars. Because if a man is older than the girl, you don't call him a panther or something like that. So no, it's not a cougar series. But anyway, so just gets a little under my skin. Anyway, the women are older than the men. So the women will be like in their 40s. Like Celestia is 45, and then Corin is actually her name was Corin. Corin is 46. So I think more authors should make, female heroines in their 40s too. She's not old. I mean, in case you guys don't know it, I mean, I don't know if I look it, but I mean, like, I don't think so. I'm 51. So it's like, if you saw me on the street, would you really think I was 51? I don't think so. But anyway, the whole point is yeah, I'm 51. So I want to see a character that's 40 or maybe 50. I mean, come on, Angela Bassett is 65 and she looked fire. So you guys need to start putting more characters. I'm just joking. Anyway, but my whole point is, I did have a little bit of issue with the age. So because of the fact that the character was 21, it turned me off. So I never read the book. It was like on my Kindle all this time. And then when we decided to do the channel, both Jen and I started actually reading and focusing on the books that are in our Kindle and our Nooks, because we figured even if they weren't indie authors, which she is, if they weren't indie authors, then we could do that substitute day. But then, like I said, we've decided not to do it because the submissions are beautiful. Thank you guys. Please keep sending them. So we need that day to read. We're not going to be able to do 7 days. We're going to be able to do 6 days. And so Saturdays we will be reading everything like crazy. And the good thing is usually I'm off on a Saturday, so I can just spend all day reading. But anyway, so that was my only problem that I had. To be honest, I did see a few typos, and it wasn't typos as like she misspelled a word. It would be like when she turned around to look at the light, she left out at. Or she might have left out when she turned around to the light. So she left out look. And that's easily to happen. Because when you put your computer on, when you're an author, just to explain, not trying to give her an excuse, guys, because, typos are typos. And I'm sure I have some. And I'm not trying to give her an excuse so you guys think I'm making excuses for her. I'm just telling you how it goes when you're an author. This is the author now. When you put your computer on Justified, sometimes what will happen is you can be typing a word, right? But if you have an extra letter onto the word or whatever, and you like hit the backspace, some Justified will erase the entire word. Because I noticed that when like I said, I write I write 6 paranormal romance series. And these are huge books. Like, I was working on teaching between, Teach Me the Night, Kissing Cousins. And that book is like 90,000 words. And so when you're editing the first 4 books in that series, I edited myself because I hadn't found Karen yet. That was way back in like 2011. And I hadn't found my first editor, Karen, God live. Hi, Karen. I hope you're watching the channel. You rock. Hope you're having fun with your grandbabies. Anyway, when I found her, or she found me, she offered to edit for me. And it was because of things like that. And then it was because I realized that when the computer's on Justify, your keyboard does something different. And so it would wipe out whole entire, like, sentences. And I was like, what the hell? And so it would make it look like it hadn't been edited when it actually had. And then Karen went to spend more time with her babies, and now I have Minnie. Hi, Minnie. Hope you're watching too. And Minnie's really good at catching that. So if there was anything wrong with her book, it was like those type of things. And then me personally, I would have liked for the heroine to be at least like in her late 20s, early 30s, because I just feel like, you know, she doesn't really give you his age. Like, he talked about when he was in his 20s. If he's 25, then it would work. And it would, and then it would, I wouldn't have an issue with it. Because he talked about when he was growing up, like how he did his first kill when he was 14. And then he talked about when he was 25. But I don't remember another age after that. Or it gave the impression that now he's older, like he's probably about 30. And so maybe it's because I'm a mom and I have 3 girls. And I know my oldest daughter, when she was 25, she was dating a 35-year-old. And that kind of like annoyed me. But like she was 25, so I really couldn't say anything. But so I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm a mom and that just irks me a little. So it's like a 35-year-old man with a 21-year-old girl. I'm just like, no. I have an issue with that. And so that's another thing that I have about the cougar, because if she's 21, he's 35, there's nothing wrong with that. Society says, oh, who cares? She's blah, 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 blah. But now if you flip that, and that's a 35-year-old woman and it's a 21-year-old boy or guy, then everybody in freaking society has an issue with that. She's a cougar. She's old enough to be his mother. Well, he old enough to be her daddy. Why is that different? Anyway, so my point is, if I had anything to say that, and it wasn't even that I didn't like the character. I loved MJ. She was hysterically funny. The comedy skits just randomly through, like when she was on the hoverboard. She's hysterically funny. I liked her as a character. I just kind of wish like maybe she was a little bit older. But anyway, that's just me. But other than that, if just like the book is flame. Excuse me. The book is flame. I loved it. I love that whole mafia crime boss thing. Anyone out there in YouTube land who has mafia crime boss romance like that, send them. I love those. I want to write one myself, but I kind of feel like, nah, you know, I could do it, but I'm just like, no. Arlie has one that's fire too. I'll probably do that one for you guys too. But she has a crime boss one. And so I love those to read. Those are like my guilty pleasures. Those and the billionaire romances. So if you have some of those, send those in too. This is a romance channel. Although we are going to feature indie authors who write horror, who write suspense, who write those things too. Primarily, this is a romance channel. So whatever your romance is, whatever your cuppa, send it in because we want to. So send it all in. And that's pretty much it. If I had to star this book, she would get a solid 4. Because this book, maybe a 4 and 2.5. Because this book was so good. And I really liked it. And I want to show it to you guys again. So you can go out and get this author. Because this book had me dying laughing, as you could see from the beginning of the review. I couldn't stop laughing at some parts. And it was just really good. So, once again, the book is called Power. It's called Power. It's by author Kenya Wright. Not R-I-G-H-T, but W-R-I-G-H-T. And it says Amazon best-selling erotic author. So, I want you guys to go out and get this darn book because it's really good. And you will be laughing. The scenes excuse me, for the intimacy sizzle. Like, seriously sizzle, y'all. So, this is not for children. It's 18 plus. Really, I think you should be 21 reading this book. But anyway, and that's pretty much it. And tomorrow, we are going to be reading. I don't know yet. I'm going to wait. You'll just have to see it tomorrow. So that's pretty much it. We thank you guys for watching. Continue to send in those submissions. Subscribe. Subscribe, subscribe, subscribe. How many times can I say it? Subscribe. We want all you guys to subscribe. And we want readers too. We want some readers out there. It's wonderful and blessing and so awesome to have all of you authors submitting. But we need readers too because, excuse me, we want them to buy your books. So if you have reader friends, please send them over to the channel and have them subscribe just so they can support you and see your review as well. And that's pretty much it. I will see you guys tomorrow. Peace and love. And we just want to thank you again, seriously, because when I got that message today in my in the email that Facebook was, that YouTube was congratulating us on our channel and like the hours that it had been viewed. And right now, to some people on YouTube, it might not seem a lot, or they might think like we're like so minuscule compared to everything else that's out there. But 40 something subscribers already, and we just launched on the 30th. I really thank you guys so much. That's so cool, and we just can't thank you enough. And so now we hope to get 40 million. So come on, subscribe, send your friends, tap that little bell down there so every time we upload a new video, you will get the hit, and tell everybody to subscribe. We love you guys. We thank you so much, and we will see you tomorrow. Bye, guys.